It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer comment that I got in actually via email. And that is really in light or discussion of a female psychopath relationship. What do you do when someone who has gotten you good, who's, gotten you and you didn't know that you were being got? Who did you, eventually find out that there are some ulterior motives, or what you see is not what you get or what you wanted with this person? In other words, you have been in a relationship and you have seen their true colors. You have seen that they engage in certain types of behavior that is counterintuitive or contradictory to the foundation that you thought you had with them, that betrays the nature or the validation of the relationship. In other words, they undercut you, they undermine you, they throw you under the bus. They treat you one way and then behind your back they do another. They take, and then you find out that they give, and then next thing you know, they've gone ahead and, locked up certain situations or shut off certain opportunities for you and sort of rendered you in the process helpless, hopeless, or sort of not being clued in, not being included, not given the respect or what you had given them. So there's a real difference, I would say, in the fairness of the equality of the give and take in the relationship, and namely that of creating a real divide. With a female psychopath, you will realize that there is a certain wantonness of wanting to win, preside, take over, dominate, control, have power over, go to the top, claim victory, be the champion, whatever it is. There is this desire of a psychopath to go after whatever it is that they want. And there is oftentimes an inability or a blinder to other people's feelings, needs, wishes, rights, rules, laws. There is a blinder to these. And when I say blinder, I mean a blindness in the 100% of the word. In other words, violating the law, telling lies to authorities, telling lies to banks, telling lies to police, telling lies to whoever, people in business. They just will lie through their teeth to the degree that most people would not fathom being able to lie. In other words, they have a conscience. Their gut would not permit them. They will, do this. They will lie to people in their face. They will lie about their intent. They'll lie about their relationship. They'll lie about what they're doing in business. And then all of a sudden you find that they have done all these other behaviors that will basically be a direct conflict to the relationship that you, in air quotes, they have established with you. In other words, violation or betrayal in nature. A betrayal bond, a trauma bond. And then this will really create a very sort of shocked, I would say, experience, and oftentimes leading not only to a feeling of shock, terror, horror, emotional pain, but oftentimes that of really severe. And I talk about this in a very real and serious, nature here. This is not just, a relationship that, there was some heartbreak. This person just didn't include me in this meeting. We're talking about a serious toll that it will take on the reputation, the profession, the outlook, the mindset, the health, the mental health, the physical health, the strength of the immune system. All of those systems become compromised in the individual who has been targeted or implicated in this type of relationship. And I say implicated because oftentimes there is a complete unawareness, unknowing, ignorance, naivete, of the other people. In other words, they were taken by surprise. They did not know that this was going on. They did not have the eyes to see it, the ears to hear it, the sense to feel it. They did not know that this was going on. In other words, that you did not know who and what you were dealing with at the time, or there might have been red flags, but as is part and parcel to these relationships, denial of the red flags is part of the problem of this relationship. In other words, your ability to say, you know what, this seems wrong. This seems like it's violating to me. This is hurtful. This is taking me back a couple notches. This is not fair. Yet then, then so people end up usually, people of empathy end up forgiving and, forgetting and then taking them back. Agreeing to come together. Let's make amends. Let's meet in the middle. Maybe things can be different now. That was water under the bridge. So there's oftentimes this sort of making of amends, or I would say sort of the negotiating phase that people will take in the relationship where they're trying to emerge from the denial, but it's kind of like an emotional rubber band. It just sort of snaps back into place. The denial is part of the relationship dynamic with a female psychopath. They will build this into the relationship from the get-go. Before you even showed up on the scene, before you even knew this person, this is how this person is, was, and will always be. They are abusive. They are manipulators. They will lie. They will do whatever it takes. They have no remorse, no regret. They don't think that they've done anything wrong. They will, continue this escapade until you become really, like this viewer says, he gives, I would say, and equates to sort of the video that we were describing the other day. He calls this the Barbara syndrome, as was in, I guess he has observed this in a film that came out in 1995 called The Zombies. Forgive me here. Night of the Living Dead. So Night of the Living Dead. So he's calling this the Barbara syndrome. So in other words, in Night of the Living Dead, he talks about how there's this character, Barbara, and she falls in love, I think, with this individual, or no, I'm sorry, it was her sibling. And of course, she wants to be close to her sibling, but this individual is sort of taken over by the zombies. I'm really paraphrasing, but she wants to basically look at the dynamics of this. And so basically, there comes a crossroads in the movie, basically, where one moment. I'm just kind of getting back to his email here. So in other words, these zombies are then the one who are, taking over and creating the fear, the threat, the destruction. They're taking over people, and then the viewer, are really the only one who can see what's going on. The people in the film, Barbara, they don't really understand the truth. They don't really see the sort of zombie apocalypse and the fact that they've taken over her brother and that she's trying to save him, but he's then one of them because he's, been, I guess, taken over, I guess is the only word, the only way to describe it. But, he says the abuser's presence and appearance is still ablaze, and in other words, it still captures you in the first place. So, in other words, the abuser, you're still sort of addicted. He says that the presence and appearance is still ablaze, still has that magnificence that captivated you and captured you in the first place. So the operative words, what captured you and captivated you in the first place. So there's this very certain, I would say, beginning seed, whatever it is about the relationship that you fell in love with or enamored to, loyal to, would die for. So this, so in other words, it is this which you're still continuing to keep in as part of your motivating factor, despite all this mistreatment to the contrary. So this is what keeps people going back for abuse again and again. Why it's so difficult for people to leave. Not only is it difficult to own it, but oftentimes people have been so weakened by the abuse that they don't have the ability to be supportive of themselves and validating and acknowledging and having the self-esteem enough to brush themselves off and to say, I'm worth dusting myself off and I don't need to take this anymore. So it's a real double whammy. And so I haven't really given a great recapitulation of this. Maybe you can watch the video. But in other words, he's saying the main protagonist is you. In other words, you're the one who deserves to have, the spotlight. You are the one who deserves to be the one who is the key character here. It's not about them being the key character. You are the key character, the viewer. So I think that's a really cool, a very nutshell description on my part. He did a fabulous job, and of relaying that. But in other words, you are the key player. You are the protagonist. You are the one here who is driving the movie. The movie here is about you. It's not about them. You've had you've had a number of seedy characters, cross your path. It doesn't mean you have to be one of them, think like them, have standards like them, or commit the acts or atrocities or be as they do. And oftentimes, abusers, if you treat them like they treat you, they wouldn't stand for it. Why would you stand for it? Why would you continue to accept and go back? And there's just so much more to this viewer's email, particularly if this is in the workplace. People will undercut you, undermine you, take credit, not give you any credit, or completely misconstrue things that they have done, and they will debase you, defile you, take your ideas for their own, take your work for their own, not give, they will use you as an inspiration, in other words, and then leave you high and dry like a rag doll that's just had all the stuffing taken out and it's no good anymore. They'll take, in other words, they'll take you from usually I would say there's what you might say, they will take whatever inspiration that they can take from you, but they won't give you credit for that influence. They won't give you credit for that. They will not give you value. They will not give you validation. They will not be supportive. They will not give you the right to have self-esteem or to be a person of this, that, or the other thing, because it's not part of their dynamic. It's contradictory. They need to have a hierarchy. They need to have a imbalance. They need to have a above and below, with them in the win and then you the lose. Them the win, you the lose. Them the penthouse, you the basement. I mean, it's just again and again and again. It's just and so I feel like I could do a better job with this viewer's video, but synopsis of the video. But I think the main thing is like he says, you the viewer know better. You know who the protagonists are. You know who the zombies are, and don't forget that fact. In other words, once you know who the zombies are, don't forget. Don't forget. Don't forget. Don't forget. I think that's very, very true, and I, have, stated this. There is a lot of reason, though, psychological reason why you forget. Denial. The fact of the abuse, that it is, built into the dynamic itself, that they want you to forget. This is part of it. They want you to, they'll criticize you when you start to notice the red flags. This is da 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 da, and so they won't, you won't be able to walk away oftentimes when you should, because you aren't strong enough. So It's a real difficult situation, I would say, especially to own the reality. And we're going to go into another video when this becomes very severe and this really causes an inability to operate, an inability to function, post-traumatic stress syndrome, complex PTSD that can result as a result from these relationships with a coworker, a parent, a sibling, a spouse, you name it. This is serious stuff. I mean, this is shell shock syndrome. This is what people experience after very grave and difficult traumatizing situations. This is not just like a country song. My heart is broken and I can't find my dog. This is a lot more real, a lot more serious, and has a lot graver implications for your survival, for your wellness, for your professional life, for your physical life, for your spiritual life, your mental health. It has huge and vast implications. So I don't take this topic lightly. It is very important that you understand the cause that creates this effect, and then really remember your lessons learned, even though it's part of it. I would say part of the abuse is to deny it. So you really have to learn some new mental, emotional habits and then behavioral habits in order to build yourself up and have a strength and trust in self, and stop subjecting yourself to this type of abuse. Stop taking these people back. Stop settling for being lied to. Stop settling for being mistreated. Stop settling for people to take the credit for all of your work, like our viewer has stated, and not give you any credit for your ideas, your how you design things. I mean, it's a horrible feeling, and I do get that because I have engaged in a lot of creative brainstorming groups, a lot of new product development, where my ideas were taken, developed, and became multi-hundred of million dollar profitable products, and I don't have any intellectual property to show. I have nothing on the papers. I have nothing on the credits. When the credits roll of the movie, I don't have anything there yet. I wrote out, I drew the pictures. This is the design. This is how it worked. I presented it. I gave the names. This is what we call it. This is what it looks like. And all sorts of other people took the credit. I did not know better. So you have to understand, that you have to realize and protect your self-worth, your I am. Do not go back to the abuse. Do not buckle. Realize, why it's so complicated. Have empathy for yourself. Why is it so difficult? Why is it so painful? Why do you keep making the same mistakes? Because this is part of how a relationship will develop with a narcissist or a psychopathic, who becomes then an emotional or psychological abuse, taking advantage of your ability to see and know and trust, will have double and triple lives, engaging in the gaslighting, brainwashing, and triangulation. I mean, I can define these, but if you've been with a video, you've been with a channel, then you know what these are. These are textbook tactics of manipulation that a narcissist and a psychopath will use. Begin to see them for what they are, and then chart your journey elsewhere. Do not, chart your journey away from the abusers, away from the emotional minefield. I mean, even if it's difficult, even if you don't think it should be, even if it doesn't feel right, even if you don't want to, begin to understand that you must develop and understand what self-esteem is, and self-trust and confidence is, and understand the working knowledge of this, where you say no more. Enough is enough. That is it. I am done. End of story. Period. I mean, enough is enough. Until you can make that statement, until the pain is great enough, you'll usually continue to go back, beat your head against the wall, wonder why this happened again, why you haven't moved forward. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and for goodness sake, please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace in, peace out, peace be with you, and have a beautiful day.